Hello again, Jennifer and Eric. I'm not gonna say I love you again, 'cause you already know that, and I just did. Like,
She says, "Yes, you are, and I love you too."
okay, I love you. I just did. Yeah. Okay, so Jennifer, you want to tell us about a really cool epiphany you got from Eric during a reading with a sitter. Can you elaborate?
Yes. Yeah, so actually it happened just this morning. I was doing a reading for a client, and many people have expressed this to me, but a lot of times we as humans have this feeling of being homesick. And that homesickness is for the other side.
Yeah.
It's just this longing of knowing that we don't belong here and this is not our reality. And so as I was doing the reading with this client, we were talking about happiness, and Eric very eloquently put it to me basically like this, that as humans, a lot of the times that we feel unhappy or we make impulsive decisions, or we just do something that 6 months later we're like, oh my God, why did I do that? He said what it is that on our subconscious, on our soul level, we remember the happiness that exists on the other side. And he said we are constantly seeking that happiness here. And he said that level of happiness does not exist here.
Mm.
Which I know sounds sad, but then he went on to tell me that no, when you do cross over, that's when you reach that level of happiness. But for so many of us, it's like, well, I'd be happy if I had this car. I'd be happy if I got that promotion. I'd be happy if I had another child. And you may temporarily feel a bit of happiness, but what comes back around ultimately is that feeling of something is missing.
Yeah.
And so what he was telling me is that even though it seems kind of sad to sit here and say it, he said it's actually such a beautiful connection, because feeling, that feeling of something being missing is how you know that the other side exists.
Oh
I know that,
yeah. Oh wow.
yeah.
So
Uh,
there's the beauty of that.
yes,
Oh
yes. It
gosh.
was
Yeah.
very beautiful. It just was a very beautiful thing. So what he was saying is like, of course, if you're in a bad situation, if you're in a toxic situation, if you're being abused, this is different. This is something that you need to get yourself up out of
Yeah.
and move on. But there are so many people who look and say, I have a pretty good life and I just don't know why I'm not happy. And he
Okay.
said, that's when you really need to look and say, okay, how do I be happy with what I have right now? He said, people leave relationships, people leave jobs for this reason. And then they look back and regret that decision later. And he
Yeah.
says it's all about trying to seek out this level of happiness that we won't find here.
Yeah.
And
I made when I was kind of dealing with that whole thing, I decided to make a list that's on my computer called the happiness inventory. And in it, I listed everything that I'm so grateful to have because it made me happy. Amazon Prime, yay! My cappuccinos in the morning, yay! I mean, even little bitty
yes,
things.
yes.
So I kept thinking, and the list got longer and longer and longer. I said, God dang, I have every reason to be happy.
Yes. Yeah. And so what he's just said now is that as humans, we need to have realistic expectations of what happiness looks like.
Yeah.
We are here to struggle. We are here to suffer. So that stuff's still going to happen. But
Yeah.
that doesn't mean that you can't focus on what does make you happy, but have realistic expectations of what happiness is here.
Yeah, my husband says that here's expectations, here's reality. Right
Yes.
there, that gap is called the misery gap. The
Yeah.
misery gap.
Yes. Yes. And so many people live there.
Yeah,
He
I
said so many
know.
people live in that misery gap.
So,
And he said not for a whole lifetime. He said some people do live there for a whole lifetime. But he says you don't have to. You can get your way out of it, and sometimes you might pop back into it, and then but if you're aware
yeah,
of the reality of what we're supposed to be here doing,
yeah.
he says it can make it a lot easier.
So, what should a person's thought processes be to do that? Give me an example of a person talking inside their head to remind themselves of that.
Okay, so he says one of the biggest things is to focus more on what you do have as opposed to what you do not have.
Yeah.
What you do not have fires negative
Mhm.
energy in your brain, this kind of thing. So he says focus on the positive. Even if you don't like your job and you know that you're going to have to improve your education to get a better job, he said don't focus on how much you hate your job, focus on what you need to do to change it.
Right. Right.
Because he says we spend so much of so much energy being negative about stuff. If he says if you took half that energy and made it, focused on a plan, you'd be much, much happier.
No, I know. You guys should check out the Soul Happy technique. Go to soulhappy.com because these two psychologists, I've talked about them before, have developed this program that I tell you, it just replaces like decades of therapy.
Mm-hmm.
That goes to your subconscious, because little tip of the iceberg, 5-10%, that's your conscious mind. The rest of it is the subconscious mind, and it programs out the negative thoughts, this thing, and puts in the positive thoughts. So that's important. Also, I think that if you do feel like you're doing without, employ the law of attraction. Allie O'Shea has this, what is the name of her? Anyway, look up Allie O'Shea, Allie, and then O''SHEA, because she has a workshop that is very good, and I went through it, and I feel like things are happening for me more. When I was going through it, I said, "Oh, is this gonna really work?" But my God, it just seemed like things are ducks are falling in the row. So do that too. So in other words, instead of being in the victim mentality, and I'm sure Erik would agree, do something that is, proactive, like doing these things are cheap. I think the Soul Happy thing is like $160. Okay. And I don't know how much the law of attraction thing is, really inexpensive. Do that, invest in that, and put yourself in a forward motion. Take control of your unhappiness and get out of the misery gap.
Yes, absolutely.
Raise the reality bar.
Yes. Yep, absolutely. And be very conscious of how much time you spend thinking about negative thoughts.
Yeah.
And he says also, with the law of attraction, remember that the universe has its own timing. So just,
That's true.
Realistic expectations of, something's not going to happen necessarily instantaneously.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just, it was really eye-opening for me personally.
Yeah.
Experience with Erik this morning. It was very cool.
That is so cool. Do you think that the younger generation, we just talked about this in the last session, has a bigger misery gap because they have the sense of entitlement? Why am I not getting the shit I'm supposed to get?
Yes, absolutely.
And that's another reason not to raise your kids to be little snowflakes, people.
Yep.
Have faith in them. Let them deal with negative emotion, uncomfortable emotions. Also.
Yes, uncomfortable. That's a good, I like that. Yeah, uncomfortable.
There's no negative emotion, really. I say that all the time. The negative emotion, but really it's just uncomfortable. I should change my evil ways.
Absolutely. Yes, they have a much, much bigger misery gap.
Yeah.
And he says the reality bar, it's like their expectations, it's more like you said, the expectations are here, the reality's here. It's like reality's still here, but their expectations are like way higher. Yeah.
So what do you tell them, Erik?
It's unfortunate, but you know what he has, and this did not come up in the last video, but he's just mentioned it. He said, fast forward this group of people into their 50s, 60s, 70s. And he said they're actually, that group has the potential to actually really have huge masses of spiritual awakenings.
Oh, good.
Yes.
Why?
So he said that is actually a benefit that will come, 50, 60 years from now, because they're going to constantly be searching for something that's going to make them happy.
Yeah.
And it will bring a lot of them into the spiritual realm.
Well, that's a really good thing.
Yes.
Maybe that's a collective contract, is it?
Yes.
Could it be?
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
it's
Oh,
gotta be.
wow. I never thought of that. That is so cool.
It's funny because we were just, like you said, that video we just did, and it didn't come through till right now. He said, no, fast forward 50 years and this group is going to be very enlightened, but it's going to take, they're going to really struggle to get there.
So what, are you supposed to keep raising snowflakes?
No.
I'm
No,
kidding.
there's
Of
no,
course not.
well,
Of
there's
course not.
enough, but it will
What's
still
not? That's,
happen.
yeah, really.
It's going to
Okay.
keep happening.
Yeah. What do you
Um,
think this new generation of parents coming up are going to do? Are they going to be very permissive also, or is there going to be some sort of
tightening
boomerang
up,
back to tightening the
tightening
reins?
up. Yep.
Good.
He said it's going to tighten back up again.
Good.
Um, because
It's a
it's
pendulum.
yeah,
Yeah.
well, because a lot of these kids, when they are parents themselves, are going to say, oh my gosh, I got away with all this and I was doing all this behind my parents' back. I don't want my kids to be doing that. So yeah,
Oh,
it's going to
yeah.
let the pendulum swing back the other way. Not to the extreme. He said, hopefully we're past the real far extremes of
Oh,
stuff.
God, yeah. Oh, I'm sure we
We're
are.
all past that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
The beatings. Yeah. The
yes.
criticizing, insults. Yeah. We don't
Yeah.
want that. Mm-mm.
No.
So missing home. So it's kind of cool. The epiphany that just means that home, that just is proof that home exists. Um, can they do anything to help them feel a connection to home more, so they can at least, even though they're here, have some sort of relationship with home?
Yes. Yeah, he says absolutely. There's so many things to do. And of course, anybody really who's probably watching any of these videos is probably aware that there's the other side. Now, some people might stumble upon them and it's their first experience, but it'll progress them through. He said, what you want to do is work on like raising your vibration so that you have more of a sense of the beings on the other side, the souls, the
Oh.
angels, the guides. And so
What do you mean is, wait, what do you mean a sense?
oh, well, like a lot of people can just sense when like one of their loved ones comes
Oh,
around
okay. Got it.
and then they just don't question it. They just know that, oh, my grandfather just popped in, and they just stop questioning it. And so Eric's saying work on just being more open to that meditation. Um, Meditation is really one of the best ways to do it. Asking before you go to sleep for, some kind of sign,
Yeah.
but a lot of it really is about just trusting and believing that they're there, that
Yeah.
we're never alone.
Yeah.
There's always souls from the other side surrounding each and every one of us.
Mm.
I don't care if you're the, worst, most horrible serial killer,
Oh my
crazy
God,
in
do
the
I have serial
world.
killers in my audience? Ah,
No, I
we
just
love you
mean
too.
earth in
Yeah,
general. It does not matter who you are. If you are here
yeah.
on this earth, you have souls on the other side who are with you and trying to help you.
That's
And so
so
meditation is a
reassuring.
good way to connect to it.
Any
Watching.
particular medication? Medication will help too. No, but any particular? I know everybody has different needs meditation wise, but maybe you or
Yeah.
Eric can name some of your faves.
So for this particular, when you're actually really trying to truly connect with the other side, he said silent meditation is the best way to do it. So like we
Instead of active, like
yes,
doing
or
guardians.
guided.
Okay, I did not know that. Okay.
Silent meditation is better because it quiets everything down. Honestly, one of the best places for this is like in the hot shower or hot bath.
Okay.
Because
Yeah.
it's quiet, but there's still some minor activity happening.
Mm-hmm.
It's very soothing. So this is a good place to try to connect there.
And water is grounding, right? Or is it the opposite? Is water grounding? Eric, I can't remember.
Yeah, I feel yes. He's making me feel yes. It's
Okay.
grounding.
All right.
So that's a really good way to do it. Of course, that sleep dream, that phase is another place. If you get a visit from a loved one,
Mm-hmm.
and the difference between a dream and a
Mm-hmm.
visit is a dream, even if it's very, very vivid, even later that same day, you can't quite remember it with the same vividness as when you woke up. But a visit from a loved one, 10 years later, you can remember it
The
just happened.
details. So that's like a lucid dream, an actual dream visit.
Yes. And so
Okay.
he says, a lot of people have these and then they just say, no, it was just my wishful thinking. He said, that's a big one, is to stop questioning and second guessing.
I know. People.
Yep.
Hey, I've been there, done that. All right, so they just legalized psilocybin for prescription, like magic mushroom. I don't know, the extract or whatever. I'm not sure. One of my kids told me that. I haven't read the information. Would would hallucinogens help open you up to have a relationship with the other side?
Yes. For some people they can. Yes,
Okay.
absolutely. Yep.
Uh, what would be the hallucinogen of choice? The HOC.
Um, I'm so bad with names, but there's that drink that, there's like
I don't
this.
know, ayahuasca.
Yes.
Oh, okay. The one
Yes.
that
Thank
makes
you.
it come out of both
That's a
ends.
good one.
Yeah.
Not for everybody though.
Oh, I do not want it to come out of both ends. There's no way.
Yeah.
No. Okay.
It's very effective, but not for everybody.
Yeah. Okay. And how often should a person do that? That is lonely or homesick, basically. Check with your doctor, people. This is
Yes.
not medical advice.
Yes. He says for um that would be based on each individual person's experience, because sometimes
Okay.
people will do it one time and it's opened.
Okay.
And they don't need that again to keep the connection.
Mm-hmm.
Some people just do it and that's it. They've opened the gate, so to speak.
Okay.
Yep.
And of course, people do ketamine sometimes to have that spiritual experience.
Yeah. That's dangerous, he said. That can be
Yeah.
done very, very wrong.
You go down the K-hole, never come back. What about LSD?
Same.
But if these are administered in a professional providers in a safe place where they guide you through the journey, would that be, and they take care of the dose?
Yep, it can be, absolutely. But he said even if it's done like that, it can still be dangerous.
Okay.
Because you just don't know with your own chemistry how you're going to react.
Yeah.
It is definitely can be effective. Absolutely.
Well, the mushroom, I think the psilocybin that they just approved of, it's going to be used, or maybe it is being used now, for depression. So is that only the depression that one gets when they're lonely for the other side?
No.
Okay.
It's all kinds of depression. It's
Okay.
actually Erik says very, very effective.
That's good.
For this.
If you're already on antidepressants, do you have to get off of it first in order to?
He says, yeah, there will. Well, it's like a crossover. He says.
Okay, you taper. Okay, yeah. Okay, yeah. I got it. All right. Slowly increase one, taper the other.
Yep.
Is that something I should consider and tell my doctor?
Yeah, talk about it. Do some more research. Do some more research on it. But yes, mention it to him.
And is there anything else that can help people who are actually there was some? Oh yeah, what about between lives regression to like figure out what to do? It seems like that would help connect you to home, and then you're made aware of, hey man, this was your plan. This is what you planned when you came down here and incarnated.
Yeah, between lives, past lives, that can also be very, very helpful. And just he said, believe it or not, he's like, just talking to other people who have such strong beliefs, even if you yourself don't, he said, eventually that kind of rubs off on you. So, reading books and he said there's just so much information out there right now about the other side, he said, really, for people who don't believe at all.
Yeah.
He said it's really quite sad for them. It really is quite sad for them because there's so much information out there.
I know. And there's science behind it now. So you guys just watch the YouTubes on the Channeling Erik. That could help you too.
Absolutely.
So start from the first one and sail on through. That sounds great. Anything else you want to cover, Erik, before we close up?
No, he's okay. he said also, I'm sorry, yeah, he was like ready to go, and then he's like, no, wait a second. Um, another good thing to do, as far as getting the connection to the other side, if there is somebody like specific in your life and you have something of theirs, to
Okay.
hold it or to sleep with it in the room. He said some people need a tangible thing.
Okay. A deceased loved one you're talking about, right?
Yes, the deceased
Okay.
loved one. Yes, they need something tangible to hold. So he said that can also be very helpful for people who need something physical.
Yeah. All right, good.
Yes.
Words of the wise. All right, thank you guys. This was really interesting. I agree. That's an incredible epiphany. So,
Yeah.
Erik, you're so eloquent. I love you so much.
Oh,
And
I love you
Jennifer,
too.
I love you.
I love you
Check her
too.
out, psychic medium jenniferdoran.com. I will put it right here, exactly right here in this timestamp. And you guys subscribe to the channel. Check out Erik's book, My Life After Death, a memoir from heaven, if you really want to know what that other side is like, and my journey, let's see, what's it called? My Son in the Afterlife, Conversations from the Other Side. So check it out. Great Christmas or holiday gifts. Bye, guys.
Bye.